Hi everyone, I am Julia Catsivo, business coach, and I am here to give you my live training on sales. So, who loves to sell? Be honest. When this question is asked in a gathering of people in a group, a lot of people put up their hands very confidently. I'm going to go a little bit on this end and say a lot of men put up their hands and say they love sales, and a lot of women don't. But generally, sales is something that's polarizing. It's either you love it or you don't. It's either you know how to do it or you don't. It's either you're comfortable in it or you're not. Now, this is what we know. We know that a lot of us have really negative experiences around sales. You know, we grew up with the pushy salespeople who forced our parents to buy stuff that they didn't want, or we've bought things that we didn't care for. And when we left the showroom, or we left the store, or we left the experience, we were left feeling a little robbed, like someone stole from us. So the interaction was not that great. So when we think about going out and selling, if you're honest, a lot of times you're thinking, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be that person that people look at and say, ah, great, here she is, I need to go. You want to make it a pleasurable experience. This is really important because without sales, well, there is no business. And we sort of know this, but yet this is one of those aspects in the business world, including money, that not a lot of people get educated around. I want to tell you a story. So there was a time when I was looking at my business and I thought to myself, I know what the priorities are, and the priority is sales and marketing and then operations. So what is the difference anyway? So with sales and marketing, it's the process by which you put out your products and services, you get conversations, you speak with people, you sign them up, and you deliver. That's called fulfillment. You deliver on the sale. So operations would be the bookkeeping, it would be the sprucing up the website, it would be sending out newsletters, it would be everything else that supports the business but is not related to bringing in money directly. And I knew that. And I said, okay, Julia, so what's going on with the sales and marketing? Because we always have to do these kind of introspective talks with ourselves to see where we are and whether we're still in line with where we're going. And what I realized was that at that time, I wasn't selling as much as I should. Yeah, I knew I was supposed to go out and sell, but I wasn't doing that part. The part that I was really good at was going out and meeting people, networking, sharing on social media. I mean, hands down, I mastered that about 10 years ago. But when it came to selling, I sort of chickened out from that role. And that was a problem. It was reflecting on my bank account. I wasn't making as much money as I could because I wasn't having enough sales conversations in which money was trading hands. So what did I do? I decided to make sales a priority. It became my single most focus. And I started off with the month. It became my single most focus for the month, in which I wasn't going to focus on all the other areas that I had already mastered, that I knew hands down, blindfolded. I was going to focus on the one aspect that I was not that great at. Even though I was good in sales, it's different when you have to sell yourself. Suddenly you don't have this big company that you're hiding under, or you're not working on behalf of a client. It's you who is going out there. And I decided to make this a priority. And everything changed for me from there. I mean, everything changed. My conversations became easier, faster, better, more engaging. I had much more fun. And my sales obviously went up. And this is what I want for you. And that's why we are having this discussion today. Because I know for a lot of you, you know what your products and services are. And while you come to me and say, I don't know how to get this out, or I don't know what to say, the truth is what you're really afraid of and what you are avoiding is the sales aspect of your process. So we have to talk about this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit more insight into sales, how to think about it, how to approach it, and then the actual techniques so that you can create a sales process that works for you. And I'm going to offer you some additional help at the end. Now, the first thing that I want us to really think about is what I said in my story about making sales a priority. I want you to think about something that you decided on in your life that you were going to do. So maybe it was to try and climb a mountain. Maybe you wanted to lose some pounds. Maybe you wanted to try a new discipline or habit. Whatever the case may be, it even could be going to a destination you've never been to. It's a challenge, basically. So you came across a challenge and you decided that this is something that you were going to see to the end. And you know what the benefits would be to you, how you would feel, and what it would mean to you to achieve this. And so you made a commitment to go through with the challenge. Now, I want you to do that. I want you to look at sales. And right now, acknowledge that it is a challenge because sales is a skill that must be learned. And even though you've been selling probably your whole life, if you're experiencing difficulties selling your products and services today, then understand that you may need to unlearn some of the sales methods and techniques that you were taught that are no longer working in this current market, and that you're going to teach yourself the new sales techniques and methods that are going to work for you. Make a commitment to make sales a priority. And what this means is that you're going to make a commitment to start to enjoy the process of selling, because without sales, your business is just not going to take off. You need people to come to buy, to keep you afloat so that you can continue to create and give more of the good stuff. So you're with me on the same page on this one, right? So write down on your piece of paper, your diary, whatever it is that you're using while you're watching this. And even if you're not writing down on anything, I really want you to write something down as we keep going, because that's how you're going to retain the information, but that's also what's going to make you act on it faster. So this is onboarding the whole body experience so that what you take away from this session with me today stays with you longer and will actually be acted upon, so that this is not just one more thing that you watch to appease yourself to say that you're learning something. Got it? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write down that you're making sales a priority, that this is something that you are committing to, that you are committing to loving the process of sales. You are committing to making sales a big part of what you do every day, because you want that healthy flow of money coming in, and it will keep you sustainable, not only profitable, but it's also going to keep you in business much longer than not. This is how we end the feast-famine cycle, is by continually working on our sales. So we've written that down, and that's amazing. I want you to think about time when you went on something that just seemed like a very hard thing to do at that time, but you were committed to doing it. It could even be entering into a new relationship. Whatever the case is, think about an incident or a time in your life when you were asked to step outside of your comfort zone and make that move, that action. I want you to remember how good it felt to make that commitment and to see yourself progressively get better, mastering the skills that you previously didn't have and achieving something that you never thought was possible, maybe even in your lifetime. And I want you to remember that feeling, remember how good it felt, and remember how you felt about yourself. And know that that will happen for you in the sales process if you first embody the idea that I am going to love sales, I am going to master sales, I'm going to become a sales machine, I am going to be all about sales, and I'm going to bring in the money that I need so that I can grow my profitable, sustainable business and live the life of my dreams, all while I'm helping people. Isn't that a great combination? So that's the first part. We got to make this a priority, not anything else. Anything else is within our comfort zone. Creating products and services, sprucing up websites, talking to people who are not talking back at us. And I'm talking about the people who think that just posting on Facebook and then just leaving it there is enough. We need to embody all the aspects. So that is what we're doing. We're making a commitment, and you're going to date it and sign it. Okay? Excellent. Now, if you're wondering how to view sales, and maybe sales is not your problem. It's that you go out and you're talking to people and nothing seems to be happening. Well, it could be that you are speaking with the right target market about the right thing, but you're doing this at the wrong time. So within the sales process itself, there are times when people need to hear from you very specific messages that will aid in smoother transactions. Now, if this is where your problem is, where you're thinking, Julie, I have no problem going out and talking to people. It's just that the timing is just never right. Or I perceive that they have a problem. They know they have a problem, but they just don't have any money. Well, all of this has to do with stages of where your person is. And understanding what those stages are is going to ease this for you, because it's going to let you know exactly the kind of information that you need to give to any person that you're speaking with or communicating with at any time for them to make the right move that will get them closer to the purchase stage. Now, for this, I am doing a live training, a free live training on Tuesday, April 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I want you to go ahead and sign up for that free live training, because I'm going to go in depth into this. And I am going to show you exactly how to target your audience at the right time with the right information, so that you can have more sales, get more money, more clients, and boost your self-confidence. The link for the training is on the screen. So I want you to go ahead and register for that now. It's free, and it's going to be packed with all the information that you need so that you know how to target your audience at the right time. And that will take care of that problem for you. Now, I want to talk a little bit about energy. Now, we all know that we're made up of energy, and that energy is the air of the universe. Energy is the thing that unifies everything. And I want you to consider this, that every time you go into a sales call, or when you're thinking about sales, there's a certain energy that you're bringing into the discussion. Now, the question is, what type of energy are you bringing into your discussions? There was a time when I would love getting on the phone and speaking with people. And I would love to talk to them and help them see what it is that I was sharing and persuade them to actually buy. And it would be so amazing. I'd get off the phone and I'd be like, yeah. Now, in all those times, there was one common denominator. I really loved what I was selling. I was passionate about it. And as I was growing up, this usually were my passion projects. So I would write songs, I would create performances, and I would gather my friends, neighbors, my family members, anybody that I could to participate in the show. And also, I would go out and speak with different locations so that we could stage these performances, and so that I could have that platform, and then convince people to show up so that they could watch these performances. All of that is work, but it wasn't work to me. As a child, I was just really excited to create, to produce, and to share. And so I would go out and do this, and I would do this relentlessly, whether I got any responses or not. Obviously, as in the game of sales and in the game of creating and putting things out there, I was rejected more times than I was accepted. And even though I would temporarily feel defeated, that would immediately disappear as I would think of the next place that I could go or the next thing that I could create, or how much better I could make it. That was a different kind of energy from when sometimes I would be on sales calls in my paid employment. I'm getting paid to do this. And yet I would think to myself, oh man, I got to get on the phone, or I got to go out and see people and convince them that this is a product for them. Again, I may have really understood the products and services, but I'll say that that love wasn't in there. I love talking to people. I love communicating with them when I do. When I think about it, when I think about the act of going out and meeting people, communicating with them, I would not really enjoy that part. And I know for a lot of you, that is enough to stop you from even moving forward. You just think to yourself, I just can't be bothered. I have to go make up this conversation and then got to go through this. And when you think about the process, it's enough to stop you from the joy of the actual conversations. It's scientifically proven that most human beings, when they're in communication with each other, after having a discussion, regardless of how they started it, they leave feeling better. They leave a little bit more optimistic. There's a bit of a skip to that step. It's a little bit of a smile on the face. It's like, imagine if you haven't talked to anyone the whole day, and then you bump into your neighbor on the elevator and you even say 2 or 3 words to each other. You're going to walk out a little bit different than when you walked in. And that's the joy of conversation. And here's the crazy thing, is sales is all about conversations. So when we think about the energy around sales, most of us have 2 different compartments. There's the personal life, where we have no problem sharing what we love, sharing what we believe in, talking to people about the things that are important to us. And then there's the business side, where we don't want to be spammy, we don't want to be salesy, we don't want to take up people's time, we don't want to inconvenience them, we don't want to ask them for money, we don't want to beg. All these don't wanna. And on this other side, on the personal side, it's more of the I want to share, I want to show you, I want you to see. You see, that's a different energy. Even with my face, if you've been watching me, the body language has been different when I talk about what I want to do. I want to share, I want to show you, I want you to have, I want you to see, as opposed to I don't want to be salesy, I don't want to be spammy, I don't want to inconvenience you, I don't want to beg, I don't want to ask for money. There's a lot of closed doors, a lot of jamming, a lot of pushing energy. And that's what a lot of you are bringing into your sales conversations. And that energy is not a good place to start from, because you're definitely not going to be selling anything. And when you do, it's not going to be a pleasurable experience for both of you. And you're definitely not looking forward to the next time that you have to go ahead and do this. As you can see, energy is so important. And if you're able to do this, if you're able to look at what you do and really sit down and ask yourself, am I passionate about what I'm doing? Is this the joy of my life? And you don't have to have just one joy in your life, but what you're doing, your business, is it the joy of your life? Does it bring you joy? Does it bring you joy? Does it make you happy? Whether you were paid or not, is that what you'd rather do? And if the answer is yes, then it's time to stop looking at sales as that thing that you have to do, but look at it as a skill that you need to learn so that you can produce more of that joy in your life and in others. See, this is the thing. If you truly love what you do, if you love speaking with people when you're consulting or coaching, or like, I'll give you an example. I love talking to people in my coaching sessions, and also in my live events, and also in my sales calls. It's just so much fun. When I'm done with those calls, or when I'm done with the live interactions, and anybody who's ever been to any of my live events can attest to this, I'm standing from morning to evening. I've got so much energy. I'm not wiped out. It doesn't matter how much of me needs to be poured out. It doesn't matter how many problems are brought to the table, how many fears need to be slayed. I'm in the zone. I'm in my element. And when I'm done with these, I'm always thinking, I want more. I want more. Well, if you find yourself thinking that anytime you have a session where you're helping someone out, or anytime you're having a phone consult where you're speaking with someone about your prices and how you can help them, or if you're just having any kind of conversation about what you do and you feel that joy that says, I want more, understand that the key to more is having more sales conversations. It is the juice. It is the lifeline. It is the blood. It is the oxygen. You've got to make friends with your sales process and not look at it as this thing that I have to do, or this thing where people will judge me, whatever the limitations are around that, but instead look at it as, oh my goodness, this is how I create more of what I want. This is my opportunity to get more of what I want. This is more help for others. This is more money so that I can live well and I can continue to help others. Because without money, your business will shut down or you'll find yourself closing up because here you are struggling to pay your own bills. And yet here you want to help others live a better, more profitable, maybe healthier life. And it doesn't work that way because everything that you are and what is of you is what others will receive. So you've got to start to be friends with sales. Sales is an integrity process. And this is what I mean by this. If you have something of value and it has a price tag, you have to stay in integrity. You have to offer what is of value and then ask for that value in kind. If you don't do this, then there is a disservice and an imbalance. You will find that anytime you go to speak with someone and your intention was to offer them your products and services and that you didn't, even though you may have been happy just to help out, there's a part of you that feels robbed, stolen from, taken from. You've got to put out that offer so that even if the response is no, that's okay. You still have a checks and balance that says, here was the value that I presented. It wasn't right for the person for their own reasons, but it was very equitable. So sales is very much an integrity thing. It's the same way, and a lot of focus is usually placed on people who sell something that's not good or right or, all of that. And that's what people really focus on. And they say, I don't want to be that person. But what they don't consider is the fact that if you have something of value, if you know that you have something that will change someone's life, if you know that what you have is going to make someone better, if you know undisputedly that you are good at what you do and that you bring results, you have an obligation to ask for an in-kind for the value exchange. If not, something is out of integrity. And if you're trying to live a life of integrity and to be authentic, then you must fully step into the responsibility of providing value and asking for in-kind. And the in-kind in this specific example is cash. I want you to take a moment and think about that. So how do we approach sales? Well, you start by approaching sales reverently. You look at it with the same love, the same affection, the same determination and integrity that you had when you were creating your products and services, or when you joined a company whose products and services you believe in. It must be on the same wavelength. You can't have the joy and the passion for the products and services here and the act of selling down here. You must bring them up to the same wavelength. Now, I know that for a lot of you, this is usually a question of confidence and having that esteem to go out and actually carry these conversations. But one thing that I'd like to remind you is that the more you have these conversations, the better you develop your skill and the more comfortable you get in the zone. Also, I want you to look at sales not as that thing that you have to have mastered immediately, but as continuous learning. It's through your interactions with people that you're going to discover what your style is, because you have a style and you have a voice. And most of you don't know what that style of voice is because you haven't had enough conversations to know what it is. You haven't, so you don't know. You need to go through complete sales conversations in which you either get a yes or a no, and then listen to how you're speaking and how you're acting and reacting. Take that and tweak it for the next call, and continuously look for them. One of the things that I know is difficult is that maybe you're ready to have your sales conversations, but when it comes to talking to people, meeting them, all of that, you don't have those details clear. And so that's where you get fogged up. You find that you've stopped. You're like, well, Julia, I'm ready to speak with people. I want to speak with people, but where are these people? Well, that's why I created an event called Successful and Smart Live. Now, this is taking place on April 2nd in Toronto, Canada. And we're going to be creating your vision and your profitable marketing plan. It's got to be really compelling so that it can attract the right people to you that you can then have conversations with. You see, sales is a two-part thing. You've got the marketing, and the marketing is geared to get your message out and to attract the right kind of people to you. And then the sales process is what you do from getting the interested to the purchased. So we start off with the marketing. But in order to have a marketing plan that works, you have to get a really good handle on who you're serving, where they are, what they need, and what you bring to the table. And this usually starts with a vision. You've got to create that vision for yourself and your business and make sure that it's actionable. A lot of people will create visions that are very awesome, esoteric, and very idealist, but then when you look at them in the most practical of levels, they don't make sense. Well, how are you going to fulfill this? You say that you want to make $75,000 a year, $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year. Realistically, how are you going to do this? Well, the marketing plan takes that revenue goal and creates campaigns that are going to attract the people that your sales process is going to close, and that's how you're going to achieve your goal. If this is a very scary thing to consider, or if right now your mind is you're like, that's why I don't even look at this stuff. This is why I don't even bother, Julia. Well, you need to come out on April 2nd. So this is happening in Toronto, and the details for the location will be up shortly. But one thing I want to tell you about this event is that we do three things. We work on the mindset, we work on the vision, and we create a compelling marketing plan. And in addition to that, the first 20 people who register for this event that's taking place on Saturday, April 2nd, they're also going to have free access to my VIP reception, in which I'm going to give you even more in-depth help. So this would be in case you had any questions throughout the day, in case you still have things that you need to tweak in your marketing plan or your marketing message or just your overall plan. Well, in the reception, this is where you're going to get more in-depth help. So this is a great way to learn and also connect with people. A lot of the people who attend are people in my community and also my clients, and also people who are just amazing and trying to grow their successful businesses that support their dreams. And it's an amazing way to connect with them. So the link to that event is also up here on the page. It's my second gift to you. And I want you to go ahead and really book that day off in your calendar, make the commitment and show up so that I can help you by April 2nd, 27th. It's a really good time to look at, okay, so what kind of results do I want for the rest of the year and where am I? Because for a lot of you who, you know, maybe you think you have a plan and maybe you believe that you have a plan, but your lack of consistency is telling me that you don't have a plan. If you have a plan, you will follow it because you know the actual steps to take. The reason why people are not consistent and why they procrastinate is because they don't have actual steps. All they have are goals. And there's a difference between the actual steps or tasks and the goals. And even with the steps, if you're not equipped for them, if you don't have the confidence, if you don't have the skill set, if you don't have the direction, if you don't have the support, it's very hard to take those steps. And that's what I see happening a lot with a lot of you. And I'll tell you that your lack of consistency, your lack of follow through, your lack of even beginning or finishing is a result of not having clear steps. So do come out to this event. This will be a great start to help you nail that part of your business. Now, while we're talking about, you know, sales as a skill and sales energy that we're bringing it into, I want to go into the technical aspects of sales. And this is where I talk about the sales process. Now, the sales process is where you have someone who's interested. And you notice that we start with interested, right? So it's interesting because for a lot of people, you will go out to people who have no interest and no knowledge about what you do and somehow hope to get them to buy from you. And then you wonder why you are having such a hard time, why you're experiencing so many issues and problems, and why it's so deflating and you're not seeing results. So the sales process is from the moment of interest to purchase. And the people who are successful at this who are consistently successful at signing on new clients, getting new business, and having recurring revenue are the people who have a sales process. Now, the beauty about processes is this. If you're someone who doesn't like rules and regulations and procedures and all of that good stuff, I mean, all of us are. I mean, that's the reason why we're not working for anyone. That's the reason why we went out to do our own thing. Well, the idea of a sales process may sound to you like I'm asking you to just give up, go work in a factory and just do the same thing over and over again for the entire shift. But what I want you to think about is this. The process is what's going to give you freedom, because then you're not recreating your wheel every single time. A process is what's going to tell you, okay, so these are the steps. Remember we talked about steps? These are the steps that someone must take in order to go from point A to point B. And you're creating that process. You know, when people come to you, or even when you go out to others, there are no written rules anywhere. And for a lot of you, you're sort of like waiting on the other person to take the lead, the other person to see how good you are, the other person to recognize how much they need you, the other person to see that this is exactly what they need in their life. But what is that? Who does that, right? You're the one who needs to know beforehand what your process is, where they are, and how you're going to take them through. So the parts to your process are this. You're going to create material, and this also falls in the marketing part, but you're going to create material and also space within you where you meet the people who are interested. Now, how do you know they're interested? This is because of the systems you've set up already that will bring in people who say, I've seen this, I've touched this, I've tried this, I've heard of this, I've watched this, I am looking for more. And if you're deliberate about the kind of material that you're putting out, then you're deliberate about the steps that you're taking people through, so that it's not just random. You're not just randomly posting on Facebook. You're not just randomly posting on your newsletters. You're not just randomly going out to networking events and just speaking with people. You're not giving talks and then just kind of hoping somebody talks to you. And then you look at your clientele and you wonder what exactly it is that they have in common, because you have no idea. You're just attracting mishmash. That starts with you. If you develop a process, then this is going to help you know that this is what I'm using to attract people so that I can offer them, you know, what's the next thing. And then on the next thing, you say, well, this is for the people that I know are go-getters, decision makers. I don't want them to waste time, so I have something ready for them immediately. For the others who need a little bit more information and a little bit more time, I have created the following steps to help guide them down the path so that they can know, like, and trust me. And I'm giving them more information each time without giving away everything, but enough for them to know that this is a good decision for them. And this is a sales process you can create for any kind of product or service. Some of you have products and you think, well, it's not that easy for me to create a sales process because it's a product. It's not like I can create a webinar or a talk or anything like that. And this is where I'd say I disagree. We are in a culture and in a society, thanks to technology, in which people are consumers of information. And so even if you have products, it's definitely something that you need to do is create information for people to consume. So that you do this through the workshops, you do this through the papers, PDFs, videos, audio. Do the thing that will bring more people to you. And then you're going to share this information where they are. And in your information, you're not just going to give stuff away and say, okay, thanks for coming, that was nice, and then go on your merry way. You're going to invite them to the next step. So what's the next step? Now, as an example for this live training, we first started off talking about sales as a skill and sales as energy. And what I did there is I invited you to the next step at each level. And the first one is the free training that's taking place on April 2nd. And then